Hi there, welcome to Nonsense Whisky. My name's BMPF, and on this special Saturday episode, we've got a little package from Cheaper by the Dram. Now, let me start this episode by saying I do sometimes get emails in my inbox asking to review free products. It could be things like I've had whiskey stones in the past, I've had decanters, things like that. So I often say no to these things because I don't think that they bring much value to my channel, to you guys. It's just a simple tactic of selling. That said, I did get an email fairly recently from these guys, Cheaper by the Dram. There's a picture of the box that I got from them. And I did have a very, very careful consideration before I replied to them because, again, they were offering me something that is really quite astounding, as you will see. But I have to carefully consider whether this is a thing that I want to bring to you because ultimately it's them through me to you, right? Rather than them just to me. So I went away, I researched them, I liked what I saw, and I got back to them and said, sure, let's do this thing. Now, these guys are a relatively new service in the UK. I'm not sure if they ship abroad, but you can check on their website if you're interested in anything I have to say about this. And what their mantra is getting whiskey that's very expensive or very unattainable or such, like it's just, it's auction stuff, and then stripping it down to individual sample sizes and selling them for whatever price is deemed fit at the time. Now, obviously, they're not going to go back and sell these for what they would have been worth back in the day or whatever. These guys still need to make some money or whatever they've spent the money on in the first place. So these are expensive samples, but you'll see if you go on the website what they've got. Now, this thing they sent to me is the press kit. And by the way, thank you very much for even considering me as press because that's unprecedented for me to be part of the industry like that. But this here is a 1965 Glen Garioch. Now, before we get into the dram itself, this has been sat there. I think this needs to be sat for a while. So I pulled it out just before I started filming, but they've sent me something else, which you guys might be interested in. This little package came with it, and this is a scratch card. I don't know if it's a normal lottery scratch card or what, but it's a scratch card that they say for the first 100 bottles, I don't know again if that means 100 sample sizes or full-size bottles, but they're going to send one of these with it. The idea being that, let's say you have a scratch card that you've just bought and it hasn't been scratched. That is kind of like Schrodinger's scratch card, isn't it? It's both one and not one in the same kind of instance. You don't know if it's any good until you've scratched it. And that's the same with whiskey. You get a bottle, any old bottle I've got down here, all these bottles. You don't know if it's any good until you've popped the cork and tried that whiskey. And that's really what they are trying to do, is share this whiskey, this unattainable whiskey for most people. And instead of having it collecting dust somewhere and gaining value or whatever, it's a snapshot now of what that whiskey is like and being able to try something like this for a fraction of the cost of having a whole bottle. So anyway, while that's going, I'm going to open this and scratch it, and we can see if I've won anything on a scratch card. Why not? Yeah, so it's an actual National Lottery scratch card. Okay, I'm probably going to speed this up. So let's scratch and see if I've won. Well, sadly, didn't win anything on that. That's just another scratch card piece of rubbish, but a nice little trick anyway. I like that sort of thing. It's a little bit of extra joy. So that's going to go in my little waste bin down there. Right, let's talk about Glen Garioch and Cheaper by the Dram a bit more. As I said earlier, this is the box you're getting. This is the press kit, and this is kind of what you'll get. So you'll get a little box with a little card in there. Little dram. This one's the P1. Let's pull this card out and talk about what's inside here, shall we? Put that back down there. There we go. Right, so yeah, you get a little card, and on here you've got the information. Glen Garioch Distillery, Highland, single malt obviously, 21 years. Now this was distilled in 1965 and bottled 21 years later in 1986. So that was bottled when I was 1 year old, which is freaking awesome. Unfortunately that's been sat in a bottle since then, which is, it kind of seems a shame, but also I'm glad because now I get to try that. And it's actually a 75 centilitre bottle as well, which is interesting. Anyway, let's get onto the whiskey itself, and it wouldn't be a proper video without tasting the whiskey, right? Now, whoa. Now, I've never tried a Glen Garioch before, let alone, I think I've ever tried a whiskey from the 60s, to be fair, either, but maybe I have. I did try that one North British. Put a link to that somewhere up here. Tasty dram that was. This, I mean, it's just tropical on the nose. Now in the UK we get this sweet called fruit salad. Maybe I'll put an image of that up here somewhere. And it's just like that. It's like bananas and custard and all kind of mixed together. It's really complex. I'm really glad I had this sat out for a while because I don't know, I wouldn't have done it justice, I don't think. Let's try on the palate. Wow. Now it's just a 43%er, but it's got a pretty big impact. It's more of them tropical notes coming through. On the back end, it gets a little bit more easygoing, a little bit more chilled. Some spiciness, but it's more like peppery spice rather than anything kind of untoward. Finish is pretty massive as well. But the interesting thing about this is I don't think I've ever tried a whiskey like it. As I said, I mean, I've tried maybe one from that sort of era, but in terms of single malt whiskey and Glen Garioch, never tried anything like this before. And it's just been such a kind of honour to be able to try something from a bygone age. You know, I don't think they really make whiskey like this anymore. Because, you know, back then it didn't have the same popularity as it did now. I dread to think how much that cost when it first came out. It was probably next to nothing. But today, this is something like $1,500, they said. Maybe $1,500. So, again, I don't know how much they're selling this dram for. But so I wanted to bring this to you guys, mainly because it might be something that you're interested in. Now, I'll drop a link somewhere in the description maybe around, or you can Google it or whatever you want. This video generates nothing for me outside of the normal YouTube revenues. I've got no deals with Cheaper by the Dram at all. If you like this sort of thing from them, let me know and I'll see what I can work out with them. But otherwise, it's been interesting to talk about them. Hopefully you found it interesting. Hopefully you'll go and check them out. Really interested to see what they do in the future. Go and see what they've got on their lists. I mean, as a start, they've got a Bruichladdich Octomore 1.1 on there. Now, if you see a 1.1 anywhere, then you're a lucky person. So if you're interested in seeing something like that, then go and check it out before it disappears. There's maybe only sort of 28 drams of each of these things. Who knows? There you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm going to enjoy this. I might even sneak a little bit into my infinity bottle. Might be a waste, but it's something you can say. There's some 1965 stuff in that. So cheers, and I'll see you again on another No Nonsense Whisky video.